The letter arrived on a Tuesday. The paper felt thin, cheap, unlike the heavy linen stationery my mother always used. I stared at my own address, typed neatly by some anonymous machine, and a cold dread settled in my stomach. This was it. The final confirmation of my betrayal. I had sold our family home, the place she built with her own hands, and her forgiveness. It was a quiet storm that washed away everything I thought I was. My mother's hands were a map of her life. Calloused from gardening, nicked from countless repairs, always stained with a bit of paint or soil. The beach house was her masterpiece. It wasn't grand, just a simple wooden structure overlooking the sea, but she had built most of it herself after my father passed. Every floorboard held the echo of her laughter. Every window frame, the memory of her steady gaze. I, on the other hand, lived in the city. My life was a spreadsheet of deadlines, mortgages, and ambitions. The beach house was a beautiful, inconvenient relic. The upkeep was expensive, the drive was long, and with my career taking off, I saw it not as a home, but as an asset. A prime piece of real estate tying up capital that could secure my future. I thought I was being practical. I told myself I was being smart. I'd visit on weekends, and my mother would make tea. "This house is your legacy," she'd say, looking out at the ocean. I'd nod, sipping my tea, already mentally calculating its market value. The fault line was there, hidden beneath my pride and her quiet faith. The trigger was a promotion. A huge one. It came with a caveat. A massive investment was required to buy into the partnership. I didn't have the money, but I knew where to get it. I drove down to the beach house one sunny afternoon. "Mom," I said, my voice too bright, "I have amazing news. I'm selling the house. Think of the opportunities. I can buy a beautiful apartment for you in the city, closer to me." I painted a picture of a comfortable, easy life, a narrative where I was the devoted daughter making a savvy move for us both. She was quiet for a long time, just watching the waves. Then she turned to me, her eyes clear and sad. "If that is what you need to do," she whispered. There was no fight, no anger, just a profound, quiet surrender. I mistook her silence for acceptance. I signed the papers the next week. The turning point wasn't a shout. It was her whisper and the way her shoulders seemed to fold in on themselves. The sale went through quickly. The money felt heavy and cold in my bank account. I bought my partnership. I rented a lovely, sterile apartment for my mother, but she rarely left her room. The city sounds, she said, kept her awake. She missed the sound of the sea. I was now a partner, but the loneliness was a physical weight. I'd eat expensive takeout at my large glass desk, staring at receipts, and think of the simple meals we shared on the porch. My new powerful friends felt transactional. Their conversations were about deals and possessions, not about the way the light hit the water at dawn. The costs were no longer just financial. They were etched into my soul. The house was gone, and with it a part of my mother and a part of me. A few months after the move, I was cleaning her new apartment, trying to impose some order. I found a small, locked wooden box at the back of her closet. I'd seen it my whole life, but never asked what was inside. With a strange feeling of dread, I found the key on her keyring. Inside, there were no jewels or stocks. There were sketches, detailed architectural drawings of the beach house in my mother's hand, letters from my father, talking about their dreams. And at the bottom, a faded photo of her, pregnant with me, hammering a nail into a foundation beam. On the back, she had written, "Building her future, one board at a time." The power balance shifted in that silent room. I hadn't sold a house. I had sold her dream. I had sold the proof of my own beginning. I didn't confront her. What was there to say? My plan wasn't dramatic. It was a quiet, determined penance. I worked longer hours, took on extra consulting projects. I stopped my lavish spending. Every extra dollar I earned went into a separate account. I wasn't trying to buy the house back. I knew the new owners loved it. That ship had sailed. I was trying to buy back a piece of our legacy, a piece of my soul. My resolve was my only comfort. A year later, I took my mother for a drive. I didn't tell her where we were going. We pulled up to a different stretch of coast, where a small, empty plot of land overlooked the sea. I helped her out of the car. "Mom," I said, my voice trembling slightly. I handed her the deed to the land. "I can't bring back the old house, but I can help you build a new one. A smaller one, for you, and for me." She looked from the paper to my face, her eyes filling with tears. Not of sadness, but of something else. Something like recognition. She didn't shout or celebrate. She simply reached out and took my hand, her calloused, familiar grip an anchor in my storm of regret. "Okay," she said softly. The confrontation wasn't with her, but with myself, and I had finally faced it. We never built that new house. She passed away peacefully in her sleep 6 months later, in the city apartment, with the deed to the land tucked safely in her box. In her will, she left that empty plot to me. She also left me her sketches and her tools. I go there sometimes to that empty piece of earth. I sit and listen to the waves, the same waves that used to crash beside her masterpiece. I have set boundaries with my work. I have learned the difference between an asset and a legacy. Her forgiveness wasn't an absolution. It was a mirror that showed me the person I had become and the person I needed to be. Her final quiet act of grace was giving me the chance to rebuild myself. The greatest burdens are not the ones we carry, but the ones we leave behind. If this real-life story resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more calm, emotional stories about family, love, and lessons learned.